Hello everybody, you're welcome to this video. Today I'm going to be showing you one of the primary use cases of Sketchframes. Well, Sketchframes is a professional software that can be used for animation and animatics as well as storyboarding. It can also be used as a primary source for animation review as well as animation studies. So in this example, where we're in the homepage, I'm going to show you how that's done. Simply, you would have your file that you want to review. In this case, I'm going to select a video file. Right, I'm just going to click this, or I can just drag and drop it from another window. But I click this and I select my file. In this example, I'm going to use this. So it opens up the trim video option. This is where I can pretty much trim my video, my in and out. So let's say I want to start at a given time frame or end at a given time frame. I can do that very easily right here. Or I could just input the actual numbers right here. And then don't forget that you can also adjust the import audio option to import an audio as well with the video. But in this video example, we don't have any audio. So I could just disable that and press import. Now you could see that we have the project open up. Just going to adjust this. You could see I can drag this UI to increase or reduce the timeline and the other options. And of course, like I already said earlier, you can adjust the UI size from the homepage, or you could just use your zoom options. I'm going to use Control and Scroll to zoom in just a little bit. So you could see now that we have the video. What it does is that it imports that video right here. So I could just pretty much begin to draw. So let's say we play this and you'd see something like this, right? At any given point, I could adjust and give a revision to this animation. Let's say I'm a director and I want to make some adjustments to my teammate. Maybe on this keyframe, I actually want it to be a bit more different, like from the way it is. I can just pretty much start drawing. And of course, while I draw, I could also change the size of my pen. So if I undo that by pressing Command Z and just adjust my pen size here, I could maybe at this point, I actually want the hands to have already touched the, right? And you could see in here that it just does that on the video. So when I press play, that's going to be there. And you could see now that it actually keeps that persistent throughout the video. And that's because by default, when you are in this mode, everything you draw is in persistent mode. And to disable that, you're just going to select the keyframe and you're going to press this option here. Toggle persistence. And now you can see that it has pretty much kept that drawing on one frame. If I want to extend it for a longer time, I can just click and drag this to extend it. So that is going to be extended based on how long I want. In this case, I think maybe 2 frames would be okay, because when we play back, you can see that it pretty much changes at the 3rd frame. And of course, when I go way past my actual keyframe, you could see that we're still seeing that drawing. And that's what they call an onion skin. It just shows you a hint of the previous drawing. We could disable that as well by just clicking this, and that disables onion skin. So now you could see that we have made a revision on this animation, and I can add more revisions as I go ahead. And once you have clicked this option, any new keyframe you draw is going to have persistence disabled. So that's how you can disable it if you really want that. For example, let's say we have this here, and we're just like doing a very rough pass and say, okay, maybe you want this to remain in this position, for example, just as an example. You can see that now when I draw it, it retains that drawing right here. You can see, so these are the keyframes. All my drawings are right here up in my timeline. So for example, maybe I actually want this to start at the next keyframe, right? Let's see here. So I actually want that drawing to start here. I can just click and drag this to move that there. And maybe I want this to last longer. Just click and drag this. So you could see that we are making changes to our animation on the fly. This gives us a lot of control over everything. And of course, to zoom out, I can just use my scroll wheel by hovering my mouse on the canvas. I just scroll, or I can use the options right here to zoom out and zoom in. And this one makes sure that it fits into the canvas size. So that's a very easy way that you can review your animation. You can also change the way the keyframes look by selecting the classic view. This just enables us to see the keyframes as they are individually, and you can see them right here as the little diamonds. And another thing to note is that you can enable frame to be persistent, right? And how that looks like here is if I click this, for example, and then I enable this option, that's going to enable it for this keyframe as well as any other new keyframe I create. And you can see that any frame that is a persistent keyframe, it has the diamond filled in, whereas this is not persistent. So persistent simply means that it extends to the end of the timeline or to the point where there is another keyframe. So in this example, this is going to be held till this point. And when I hover my mouse and just move around, you can see that it remains there until the other keyframe, right? If I open the thumbnail, you can see it very, very clearly. If you see it right here, it remains on screen until the next keyframe. That could be useful in your workflow. So you have that option to pretty much just adjust that depending on what you need. And then of course, I can always disable that as well by just clicking the keyframe and then disabling adoption. And that takes it back to the original way it's supposed to be. So it depends on how you prefer working essentially. So that's how you could look at your animation and probably even study another animator's work or make adjustments to your animator's animations. So where it imports, as you can see, we had the video file right here. So everything that you can see right here is in this layer. If I disable this layer, you can see that it's actually empty. All the revisions are made in this layer, right? And I can also add more layers, clicking this one here and making more adjustments as I go, okay? And then I can also delete the layer by clicking this. So that's how you can add more layers, add more adjustments if you want, and of course change the color. We're currently using the pencil tool, and that's P for shortcut. You can change the color of your stroke by clicking this and then just changing the color right here. Same for the fill. So the other tool we have here is the pen fill tool, and this one creates not just lines but it also creates fills as well. So maybe you might actually want to have a pen and a fill at the same time, and that's what it does. It uses these two colors together to create a pen and a fill. So those are ways you can actually adjust your animation, and every recent color you have used is going to appear right here. So there's a lot that we're still going to discuss, but these are the major things that you should be aware of. So when you're reviewing, you can quickly jump to different keyframes by pressing up or down, and that enables us to quickly jump back and forth our keyframes. Or if I press left and right, that's going to move frame by frame, or then up and down moves keyframe by keyframe. Just take note of that. And you can also adjust the opacity of any layer. For example, with my drawing, I can disable my corrections or reduce the opacity, and I can do that by clicking this option here. That's going to reduce the opacity of those correction layers. So I can reduce the opacity of any layer by using this option. Same for our background. And of course, you can add more layers if I want. So that's how you adjust that. And then of course, you can also export your animation once you're done with your review and you've made all the changes. You can come here and click export, and there are many options, right? You can export as a PNG sequence for people who actually use that. You can also export just as a GIF image or just as regular video. So you will just use that. And there are other more advanced things we're going to talk about later on. But for now, I think that's what you need as a basic understanding. And to lastly demonstrate that you don't have to use a video file for review, you could also load in animate sequence. So I'm going to open up this place right here again, and I'm going to select animate sequence. So how you do that is like you just select everything. You can press Ctrl A and you have everything selected. You just can press open, and that's going to load up everything here. So you can actually now select what frames you actually want to be included in your animation, right? So usually you're just gonna select the first and then maybe the last. So it's gonna import all of these drawings, but I think we actually just want everything. So we're just gonna press this and then we're gonna press import. That's been loaded up on our timeline, just like before. It gives us the same playback, and there is almost no difference. So you can actually import video as well as image sequences. Same for image files, okay? So you have that liberty to do what you want. So in the next class, we're going to talk about something else. So I'll see you then.